Nako, nagkaproblema nga tayo sa audio. Kasalanan ko po yun, mga kapatid.
Si Jan na naman, ako.
Pero, to continue, we talked about green flags, pero red flags naman tayo, red flags. Red flags. So, ayun nga,
Okay,
control and
nasa red
jealousy.
flags na tayo.
Control and jealousy. Dishonesty. Nako, dishonesty. I think siguro naman understood na yan kahit hindi na natin mag-expound. Lack of
Mhm.
mutual respect. Wow, lalim.
Ay.
Healthy relationship is built on mutual respect. If your partner consistently belittles or disrespects you, it's a red flag. Eto gusto ko to. Disregard for boundaries. Ayan,
Yan.
napaka-importante. Physical or emotional abuse, no?
Mhm.
Substance abuse. Naku, mahirap nga talaga yan pag merong mga vices, no? Pero hindi lang
Isip ka na
substance eh.
talaga.
Any kind of addiction, 'di ba? Medyo mahirap talaga siya if you're in a relationship. Inability to compromise, hindi willing mag-meet halfway. And
Yan.
prioritizing their own needs above yours. Mas importante sila sa sarili nila kesa doon sa partner nila. Eh nag-relationship ka
Selfish
pa.
selfish yan.
Oo. And these are just examples, no? Marami pa daw possible examples. Pero Gio, matanong nga kita, for you, ano ba ang green flag at red flags para sa'yo?
Well, I mean, usually green and red means go and stop. So parang these are like signs for you that you should continue with the relationship or stop nga. So in the sense nga na it's different for other people usually. But there are others na obvious na red flags like yung dishonesty nga. Yeah, for some people maybe it's like what's the word? Yung priorities nga. So
Yeah. Go on.
I'm just trying to think if I have any that are red flags for me or green flags. I guess yung gaming for me. So it has to be. I feel like they have to be into games naman. Or at least be willing to play. Doesn't have to be like gamer.
Yan. So, yung mga red flags na ganyan, yung tipong, kinokondem ka pag naglalaro ka.
Ay.
Yung mga saka
Diba?
computer mo yan.
Oo. Kaka-cellphone mo yan, ganun.
Kaka-cellphone. Kakalaro mo yan ng video games. Kakabasa mo kasi yan ng manga, kakapanood ng anime.
Puro ka na lang anime. Well, to be fair, naman, 'di ba? Sabi mo nga, any kind of addiction. So if it's video games na addicted ka to or anime, if it's pag sumosobra na siya, syempre mapapansin mo na yan and it becomes a red flag as well.
Oo, totoo naman yun. Totoo naman. Kaya nga may kanta, 'di ba? Dota ba o ako? Joke.
Pinapili na po.
Pero, 'di ba? Well, ako everything in moderation. Pero yun nga, I think it's a balance. It strikes a balance between if you're in a relationship, should you be spending more time with your hobbies than in fostering growth in your relationship? Yun yung mga tanong dyan eh, 'di ba? And if let's say
Ayan.
for example, it's just like something you do as a hobby, like you you do it once a day, 1 hour a day. Tapos nagsiselos pa rin yung ka-relationship mo. Baka yung ka-relationship mo naman yung may problema.
Bakit po?
Because relationships can be an addiction din, 'di ba?
Well,
'Di ba? 'Di
Sobrang
ba?
that is
clingy.
true.
Yes.
Yes.
Oo, mahirap na maging clingy, 'di ba? I mean, tamang clingy lang. So, with that being said, ang question ko ngayon ay, do we have any personal experiences with red flags and green flags? Wow, yes. Ay! Hot topic, hot topic. Spicy. Ikaw ba,
Gaano
ano,
ka
Maya?
spicy?
Ikaw ba, Maya, meron ka bang personal experience sa red flags and green flags?
Ang hirap naman, sana hindi nanonood yung mga ex ko, 'di ba? Red flags and green flags, I guess ano naman, um, a lot would, parang find yung mga red flags and green flags. May mga common na red flags and green flags. For me, I experienced red flags such as, uh, non-compromise,
Oo.
'yun. Or yung hindi nire-respect yung boundaries.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yung green flags, I guess, yung kapag nagja-jive yung ano
Mhm.
namin, yung,
Personalities.
ah yes, personality and also yung, what we like doing, like hobbies and
Ah.
activities, ganyan. Kasi that's where you ano, that's where you bond with each other. But siyempre if ano, if, mas ano, mas nagwe-weigh yung red flags mo sa relationship mo, siyempre, ah, mag-isip-isip ka na. Bakit ka pa nandiyan sa relationship na 'yan, gano'n.
Yun. Ikaw ba, Gio, may personal experience ka ba sa red flags and green flags?
Hmm, not really. It's more like because I can't. It's hard to even get into one. Kind of. You have.
Gio, no girlfriend since birth ka ba?
Oh,
Oh!
it's just like hard to build up a list of green and red flags.
True, true. Kung wala pa namang ano, pero siyempre I would also include mga ano, attempts at panliligaw, yes. Kasi
Hmm.
ako NGSB din naman ako eh. Pero
Yeah.
Oh!
may mga attempts din naman ako sa panliligaw and meron din akong
Yeah, but
mga
ano, siyempre 'di ba you would want to see these green flags sa ano, sa magiging future, GF mo, 'di ba? So ano kaya yung mga yon? Yung mga ayaw mo makita sa future relationship ninyo at gusto niyong makita sa ano, sa relationship?
magandang tanong yan, Maya, Gio.
Yes.
Hmm. Well, let me think. I think I've already touched up a little bit on what kind of red or green flags. What are the red and green flags to me at that? But JB, did you meet yourself? I see your lips moving a little. No, all right. Red or green flags? Hmm. That's usually personalities, correct?
Can be personalities, can be something on the onset nakikita mo sa character niya, etc.
I'm trying to think.
Sige, ako like for me, red flag sa akin talaga if the person exhibits ano values that don't seem to align with mine. So, number one, 'di ba kaya importante sa akin yung believer din yung gusto kong ligawan. So, it's someone who's also a Christian. Kasi meron, but it has to be someone who practices no yung values na yun. Hindi lang yung someone na parang sinabing Christian, nag-attend ng Sunday service. Pero pag inobserve mo yung ugali, parang lacking thereof. So yun. So for me, importante yung values ng tao.
That's
Then
true.
siguro ano, red flag sa akin yung ano, yung ah ano ba mga red flags para sa akin? Red flag sa akin yung ano, I like independent women. Wow. I like independent women.
Hmm.
I actually am okay with strong women. Pero ayoko ng strong women na to the point na parang hindi na marunong mag ano. hindi na marunong maging obedient or maging
Submissive,
submissive
ganyan.
to their authority figures. It doesn't have to mean me naman eh kasi syempre
Yeah.
maliligaw pa lang naman ako, 'di ba? Pero kung nakikita ko na yung authority figures niya parang dinidisrespect niya, parang medyo turn off siya sa
Hmm.
akin. Parang ganon, 'di ba? And I know naman people can change. Pero syempre, 'di ba, you look at where they are right now. And tatanda ko 'to, maghahanap pa ba ako ng yung makikitahin ko pa magbago-bago, 'di ba?
Siyempre
So yun.
maghahanap ka na nung ano, nung medyo nandun na tayo.
Oo. So yun, yun yung para sa akin. Ikaw ba, Gio, meron ka bang red flags?
Wait lang.
Nahirapan si Gio. Paano ka namin hahanapan, Gio? Charot. Kailangan namin ng guidelines.
Let me think. Red flag, red flag. I guess, kasi for me, parang, I don't know, I think I crave some affection. Parang, obviously, if I'm trying to get into a relationship with someone, I want someone who at least is responsive to me, at the very least. Like, I don't want, personally, I don't want someone who's playing hard to get because it's just annoying. Parang,
Gets.
I don't want to deal with this. Parang it's already hard for me to read women. You don't have to play hard to get na. Like,
True. I mean, I understand you. Tsaka sa age natin ngayon, magpapapikot pa ba anong hard to get pa ba tayo?
I've heard of these jokes lang before na stop playing hard to get, you're ready hard to want.
Grabe siya!
Nakakainis! Pero you know what? I think, yung hard to get, it doesn't mean, if you're not hard to get, doesn't mean that you're easy either. It's just, yung parang, I think for me, when we say let's not be hard to get, yung let's be clear na wala na yung parang may pakipot ka pa na parang,
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
oo,
Like, cause yeah, it's already hard na parang when you tried to
oo.
and you thought this person like you, but apparently they don't really like you in
Oo.
that way. In that way, parang and so parang it gets tiring in a way na. So I think that's why it's a red flag for me na.
Ako, I think yun yung, one of my number one pet peeves is yung, um, I think when you're in your 30s, yes. Ayaw sabihin ng edad. When you're in your 30s, meron kang point na parang, let's not play games anymore. Gets mo? Parang, let's
Quit
be
playing
straightforward.
games with my
Ah,
heart.
joke lang.
Tapos na tayo diyan, okay.
Tapos na tayo dun, parang let's be honest, let's be clear, ganun. Kung ayaw talaga, edi sabihin na wag na yung meron kasi din meron din kasing I have seen by experience that there have been women who would uh unintentionally lead on a guy because ayaw nilang sabihin na ayaw nila. So parang they're being quote unquote nice, parang ganun yung but actually um it's not it's not nice. Kasi parang nga na-intentionally na lead yung tao. So, and I think then with men, yung parang yung that type of attitude where gusto lang naman nila dun sa babae ay friendship pero flirty sila. Na hindi nila alam, sometimes it's unintentional din, hindi nila napapansin. Pero yun nga. So it blurs the line. So para ako, wala na sanang ganun. Parang let's just be clear. So pag may mga gano'n na ano, questionable, red flag na sa akin 'yun, eh. Yung parang parang malabo, ah. Yung parang gano'n, napapagano'n ako, parang malabo,
I
ah.
mean I mean, yun naman talaga din yung ano, eh, what we would want in a relationship, clarity talaga. Kasi kung alam mo yun, kung malabo tayo, di tayo nagsi-see eye to eye with what we want from each other or, what we really want to see in the relationship, parang we're wasting time, like, kapagod.
With that being said, let's take a look at some of the geek romances that we are familiar with. Sino ba ang mga famous na mga couples in anime, in games, in sci-fi, and evaluate natin, may red flags ba, may green flags ba, ano ba ang okay at ano ba ang super questionable. So I think Maya, meron kang ano couple that you
Oh
wanted
my
to.
gosh, ako agad.
Ikaw nag-ano, suggest eh.
I mean, I'm not sure if ano, if, Watakoi is already popular enough to be able to talk about it. Pero I would recommend it kasi nakaka-relate talaga din ako. And I know for many geeks na kasama natin na Wotakoi kasi is ano, yung title ng anime is Love is Hard for Otaku. So, 'di ba tayong mga geeks, mga gusto ng anime or manga or whatever.
Mahirap
Ito
talaga
talaga
ang
yung
love sa atin.
yeah, ito talaga nagsho-show na ano, parang parang true to life story talaga siya. Ayun. So, actually yung main couple parang hindi pa nga sila yung ano, yung parang gusto kong i-discuss din. Ang gusto ko is yung ano, may second lead syndrome 'tong ano, 'tong anime na 'to.
Mm.
Yung second lead kasi, yung mga support na characters dito sa anime na 'to, si Koyanagi, tsaka yung lalaki, yung green-haired na babae, tsaka yung orange-haired na lalaki, si Kabakura. So, sila yung second lead. And, eto talaga yung in a relationship talaga sila kasi yung main lead ano, sila yung malabo. Kumbaga parang walang clarity dun sa relationship nila. But yung second lead, they're really in a relationship. And, ang nagustuhan ko dun sa relationship nung second lead, natutuwa ako kasi si girl, she's a fujoshi, tama ba?
Oo.
Yung she
Mahilig sa
really
mga
likes
boys love na manga,
yes,
tsaka ano,
BL. Ganyan. So, and she even cosplays as
guys.
male characters.
I shake
Yon.
my head
So,
now.
but I do appreciate that. Kahit na ganun ka weird yung yung interests nung girl, the guy is really just allowing her to, experience yung interests niya, to really enjoy her interests. Like yung magko-cosplay nga. So, hindi siya yung tipong, "Ba't mo binabasa yan? Bakit yan yung gusto mo? Dapat tanggalin mo na yan sa sistema mo," gano'n. Hindi naman siya yung gano'ng lalaki. In fact, parang sumasakay din siya dun sa ano, sa interests ng babae.
Parang in a
Ang
sense, uh, the guy is allowing the girl to be herself. Parang
yes,
yung ano, parang to express herself in the way that she is.
yes. And, I think, um Hindi lang hindi lang ina-allow but also kind of, ayun nga, he also shares dun sa interests nung babae in some ways kasi kasi ang weird nga naman kung ikaw boyfriend mo ay
Yeah,
yung girlfriend mo interested sa BL ta's ikaw magiging interested din sa BL, 'di ba?
um,
But if it were a normal kind of interest, parang you would appreciate, someone, na who you're in a relationship with to, enjoy the things that you enjoy. And, yun nga din yung naalala ko na when we talk about, love in the church, parang, when you love a person, you already love, you also love what they're doing. Parang na, um, fina-familiarize mo yung sarili mo sa mga gusto ng partner mo,
Mm.
and you enjoy it together, and dun kayo nagba-bond. So yun yung, one, green flag na, I appreciate dun sa ano, dun sa second lead nung ano, nung anime. And siguro yung sa red flag, may ano kasi sila, eh, may kind of parang jealousy, ah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, medyo, ah, ma superior kasi yung babae. So, parang, nagkakaroon ng ano si guy, parang jealousy. I'm not sure, medyo matagal ko na siyang na ano, eh, na napanood, and I haven't really, finished the ano, the anime. So, may mga instances na nagkaka-ano
Mm.
sila, nagkaka-rift sila sa relationship nila, about that. Pero yun, na-enjoy ko yung anime na yun, and although I haven't finished it, I would want to finish it. And sorry, hindi, spoiler na pala yun. So, kayo naman?
Hmm. I'm trying to think if there's anything like I want, like a specific relationship that I want to see. Hmm. Hmm. Ah. Ugh.
James, check mo nga kung may sounds ka.
Ayun, sorry, sorry. So, Harlequin nga ang ano, I need to use a headset. Anyway,
Yes.
si Harlequin, kaya parang gusto ko siya talaga is nag-develop talaga siya as a character from someone who was just a simple-minded na parang ano lang siya, she was just the villain's side babe, parang ganon. Yung ano, to one who I think ano, kasi parang simple character lang si Harlequin, she was the ano nga, 'di ba? Parang she was the villain's girl. And you know naman in most things, pag the villain's girl, wala naman laman yung villain's girl. She's just there, no, to be pretty or whatnot. But then you learn more about her backstory where she was she was a psychiatrist, and ano she was actually consulting with the Joker when the Joker was in Arkham Asylum, and then through ano, naging enamored siya kay Joker, yung character niya. And so she fell in love with Joker to the point that she ano although there are many different origin stories. Basically, she jumped into a vat of chemicals just so that she can be with the Joker. Parang ganon, yung parang may mga she had to prove her love, and she became the Harlequin. Pero throughout the series, you would always see that the Joker would always abuse her despite his claims to love Harlequin. And eventually, she got fed up. She realized that ano na yun yung gusto ko nakita kong character growth na ano, this guy does not love her really. He just wants her to be there. Parang ginagamit lang siya.
Side chick nga, side chick.
Side chick lang talaga siya. para kay Joker. Not really someone who the Joker values. And the Joker is ready to leave her behind, no? Ah, if it meant him being captured, between him and her being captured, iwanin na lang si Harley Quinn para makatakas siya. And so I can see na red flags talaga na number one, what you call this, paasa si Joker. No, minanipulate niya si ano si Harley Quinn At paasa talaga si Joker and she endured physical and what do you call this, verbal abuse from him on a regular basis. So nakita mo talaga red flag na sa una lang parang sa una lang mabait si Joker kay Harley Quinn pero later on you see that the Joker was really she realized for herself that that the Joker was only out for himself, no? Na he didn't really care about Harley Quinn. And I think that's really a red flag. Pero alam mo, the sad truth is a lot of people even as Christians fall into that trap na hindi mahal niya talaga ako Yung we make up excuses for that person. Alam mo, Maya, bakit ganyan?
Oo.
Bakit ka ganyan, Maya?
Eh, magbabago naman po siya, eh.
Magbabago naman siya Or, hindi, worse, kaya ko naman siyang baguhin. Wow.
Yan, yan, yan. May powers ka, girl. Charot.
So, parang, but I'm glad that she left that relationship. I don't necessarily approve of her current relationship either, but that's a different story. Pero my point is, kita mo talaga na it was a red flag from the beginning. He was only nice to him nice to her at the beginning. And even though she devoted her entire life to him, she was never really valued and she was abused verbally, physically on a regular basis. So parang
Yan.
kung lagi kang ina-abuse at pabalik-balik ka, ikaw din you have to analyze yourself. Bakit ka babalik-balik? May hinahanap ka ba doon sa tao? No, red flag din 'yun Anong hinahanap mo na pabalik-balik ka, right?
Hmm.
But you should also know your self-worth. You should know how God loves you. Your worth sa Panginoon. Di ba nga, we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. And so parang let us not allow anyone to demean us and to lower our self-worth. No? Di ba?
True.
Pero yun nga, Harlequin is a interesting character para sa akin for as a character study. And 'di ba, parang doesn't mean na you are a graduate and tawag mo dito, she is a psychiatrist pa, doesn't mean na we are already exempt to the temptations of the heart. So,
Ironic, 'no? Parang psychiatrist ka ta's yung sarili mo nasa questionable
relationship
relationship.
ka. Yun nga yung 'di ba, yung problema sa love pag minsan nagpapa um, love that isn't true, nagpapakabobo tayo pag minsan for it. 'Di ba?
Yan.
So ayun. Ikaw, Gio, any thoughts or any
Uh,
couples that come to mind?
Couples. I think the one I like, the one that comes to mind from what from recent, well, not recent, but is si Naruto and Hinata. Uh, si you're a Sakura fan? Boo. I'm kidding.
Ayoko din kay Sakura, di kaya
I don't like her so much for him. Anyway, the point being about Hinata that I don't know, just because I just find it cute that she's always liked him from the beginning, and it's not because of looks like Sakura had for Sasuke at first. Parang she liked him because he was, uh, despite him being ano yun, ridiculed, he still sought and in the end gained their respect, the respect of everyone. Kaya lang. So parang she didn't wait, parang for her parang she didn't waver in that regard, like I don't know. That's just how I see it. I just thought it was very cute. And I hope they're parang that's kind of like something I hope for myself, like someone who looks at me like her. How she looks at Naruto.
Yeah, because she's had a long time crush
Oh
on
yeah,
Naruto.
ever since childhood.
Kumbaga loyal siya. Crush pa lang loyal na siya.
Yeah, and then sure, I don't know if it was obvious to her. Yung team, yung ka-team niya obviously liked her. I think Kiba hata. I don't think they actually mentioned it, but I think people just assume that he liked her then. Ayun. So I guess it goes to show like what are on what type of person I'm looking for then. So ayun.
To be fair, I mean, though I am not a fan of Naruto Hinata, it's not that I'm a fan of Sakura either. It's just that there's a part of me that feels it was forced, or they did not develop the relationship enough for me to feel like sila talaga. But in Boruto kasi kita ko na yung dynamic, nandun na yung dynamic eh. That ano eh, who they are as as a couple. And welcome back, Mr. Gaisano.
Hello,
So
hello.
so we were
From
just talking
Discord.
about geek romances, and Gio was sharing about Naruto and Hinata from Naruto.
Yeah, I got to over here.
So parang
Um,
ako, I was just saying,
I am more of a Naruhina fan than I am a Sakura Sasuke fan. So, ayun lang.
I think that's I think that the Sasuke what do you call this, the Sasuke Sakura pairing is even more questionable. Even in Boruto parang questionable. I just yun lang, yung parang initially I have a problem with the Naruto Hinata kasi I just feel like it wasn't developed enough for me to believe na they got together. However,
Yeah,
having said that,
I think
sorry.
the weakness of the Naruto relationships is that overall, all due respect to the mangaka, he made a nice world, but I think yung mangaka mismo, outside of the rivalry relationships and the big world building stuff, he doesn't uh do romantic relationships well as a whole. Kasi tingnan mo lahat ng
May
romantic
point.
relationships sa Naruto. Not headcanon ha, as in like the actual in canon. Wala masyadong well-developed stuff. There's enough to go on, but there's none that's really like, oh, maganda yung development nito. Okay, ano yung canon ships? Which might be frustrating. Let's canon some ships. I mean, Naruhina is a canon ship. Sasuke Sakura is a canon ship. Who
Shikamaru
are the
and
others? Si
Shikamaru tsaka si
Shikamaru
Temari.
and Temari.
Mario.
Yeah.
Asuma and what's her name?
The older characters. Si Asuma tsaka si
Kurenai.
yung Kurenai. Which actually came out of nowhere. It's like suddenly like, oh, they're in a relationship pala. And and they got married pala and she had a kid. You know, it kind of just comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, it's there. So it's like in general, he does good mentor to mentee relationships. He does that well. The family thing, okay siya. Pero yung romantic relationships, medyo parang, huh? It just kind of pops out. So, I'll agree it's not the best developed relationship in anime or manga. But I mean, it's kind of on par with the rest of his romantic relationship developments, which are not very great. They're not the worst, but they're not quite the best.
I
Anyway,
think that's where I jump in and say that
yes.
nang nasa Boruto na, you could see the dynamic between the relationship of Naruto and Hinata. And it's couple goals eh. Alam mo yon, yung kita mo na yung how much the relationship has developed to a point that it's your goal. If you're looking for to be in a stable relationship, dapat ganyan yung goals niya, parang ganon. So I will
Mm.
agree that it's something to look forward to look for someone in a relationship, 'di ba? Na
So
ganon
maybe that's
yung
the
goal
thing,
niya.
no?
Yun lang, that's why yun lang I'm just not a big fan of the original pairing kasi parang it felt forced for me. Yun lang. But the actual relationship na
The
maganda.
mature version of the relationship, yung adults na sila, maganda yung portrayal.
Yes. Yes. With that being
So
said,
those
so
two green
welcome
flag na
to
yun.
so John, welcome
Oh,
to the party.
okay.
Suddenly call. So ganito talaga kami dito pag minsan na ano, nagkakaroon ng sudden ano. I'm actually trying to take a look at other relationships or couples and one of the couples that I saw here. John, do you have any couple suggestions or that we can talk about?
I feel like
That would be a good topic.
naisip ko kasi last time we did like favorite geek couple. I already gave my ano
Oh,
is it
here's a
called Sige,
sorry.
go. What do you have?
Here's a suggestion. Si Scott Pilgrim tsaka si Ramona Flowers. Red flag, green flag.
I'd say red flag. See, especially si Scott, because he was like he didn't really think too hard on dumping Knives Chow just for a chance to date Ramona.
A friend of ours, as John knows, says that Scott Pilgrim is your point of view character, but he's not actually necessarily a protagonist. No, so sorry. He's not necessarily a hero. He is the protagonist because he's your point of view character, but he's not a hero.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, personally, I think he as a person is pretty bad in a relationship overall.
I mean, to be fair, he was a teenage orphan.
He's
I don't
not.
know.
Well, I,
He was a
Like
well, I don't
teenage
know,
dirtbag.
but
he
but
was a teenage
he was pretty
dirtbag.
much
I'm sorry.
he was an adult now by the time he was like in his 20s.
Was he? He felt like a teenager.
No, he was in his 20s dating a high schooler. That's
Oh,
why
that's nasty.
that's why people were saying that's why they made such a big deal out of it.
Okay, it is a bit nasty.
Yeah, he
I
was
thought he
already
was
a
a high
college graduate. He was already a college graduate.
Oh, I had forgotten that part about him. Yeah, okay. In that case, he's definitely a post teenage dirtbag.
Yeah,
So that's
that's it.
another red flag. I mean, it's kind of difficult because when you get older, that 4, 5, 6 years gap is not gonna be as huge. But
Mhm.
that said, you're dating someone who's not a fully developed adult yet.
You're
You
talking about dirt
just
bags.
just
You should
don't
really,
just don't go there.
if you're thinking about dirt bags, you should really think about Barney Stinson.
Barney Stinson.
I haven't watched that show enough to make a comment on him.
He's a playboy.
Mm-mm-mm.
Pero
Yep.
when you think about ano nga no, and that's why Knives' character had a meltdown because she was not ready to be in a relationship with a more mature more older, rather older, not mature. Quote unquote mature to an older person. So 'di ba yung reaction niya was like, this is all her fault, si Ramona. I'm like, it's not Ramona's fault. To be fair, it's
She
not
didn't
her
know
fault.
about
It
you.
wasn't her fault at all. She was a victim in this situation. So the red flag here is him pushing the blame. Right? Clearly a huge red flag. It's your fault, man. You're the guy. We're
Yeah.
way older. You have a huge red flag.
Blaming game.
Oo, di
I
ba?
don't think
Blaming game is
did he ever say blame it on them? He just never told the other person because
At first, he hid it from the other
he
person.
just hid it lang.
Tapos, at some point, meron siyang he was tossing. No, but he also tossed blame when blame was being thrown at him. No, it's not my fault, ganyan ganyan, no, parang
Hmm.
I guess
so
red flag yung ano, yung you're not taking responsibility for what you actually did.
exactly. Lalo na since he's the
Especially
guy.
wrong, pag mistake. Kasi
Hmm.
tendency mo talaga is to point the blame to somebody else when you know you're uh may mistake ka. But yung um pag tinake mo yung responsibility, that's a green flag. Kasi alam mo yon, parang ino-own mo yung responsibility na, okay, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. You're really aware na it was your mistake and you are asking for forgiveness. Talagang para sa akin green flag 'yon.
Mm.
Yeah, agree ako dyan.
Hmm.
Here's another couple, Princess Leia and Han Solo.
That's a
Not
mix of that's a mixed
exactly.
We
bag.
don't really get a deep look into the relationship kasi.
Yeah.
Well, on screen we don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm assuming movies, not really books, because
Yeah, movies naman.
not many people read the books. Have read the books.
That's true. There's a lot of them, and they're not technically canon anymore. So unfortunately, they're all like
What do you
ano
mean
yun?
they're not canon? Yung the books.
The books are no longer canon. So they're officially published material, but not canon. They're alternate universe.
I thought
Official.
when you said they're not canon anymore. Wait, Han and Leia are no longer canon? When?
No,
Since
no, no,
when?
no, no. The books.
I
But
think
what we can see on screen is that I don't know. For me personally, I don't know about Han, but Leia is definitely. I think she's a ton of green flags, honestly. Diba?
How
'Cause
so? How so?
I feel because like she was very straightforward about what she wanted, yung feelings niya. She didn't fly off the bat during the entirety of the series. Diba? She expressed emotions, but she did it in a hindi lang out of control way, 'di ba? Parang like the way she's expressed it to them. Like and when she and Han met in the sequel trilogy,
Hmm.
you know that there was something going on na nag-separate sila. But when they came back, it was not a explosive return, 'di ba? Hindi siya nag-ano,
The way
nagtampo.
it feels like the way they broke up was mutual, kind of thing.
Well, not the way they broke up, but the way definitely when they met again after quite a while.
No, but it feels like it's because the way they actually met up again, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be. But actually, for all we know, it might have been Han not. Because si Han is if I remember the story right, he left eh. He kind of like he made a decision and he just left, which that's arguable. But the thing is, her after him leaving for it seems like he left for years, and then she's like, "You're here," and she didn't make a huge negative like hindi siya she didn't like a cause like a huge dramatic thing. She welcomed him back. Although you know that she's like she knows like I know what you did was not the best. So that's why I don't think there's that energy sa akin kasi. Like that's how I read that scene. So for you maybe you read it as like oh that was an amicable, for me I don't think it was that amicable because it had something to do with their son killing people. So I don't think it could be very amicable. It doesn't feel like oh let's have an amicable separation. I'll go look first. No, it felt like a dramatic him running away moment because he said he ran away.
I thought
Han
that was.
said
I
Han
thought that was.
admitted
I thought
to
him
running
running
away.
away was because of his uncle trying to kill him.
Han Solo?
No, see. Oh, see. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Ben Solo.
No, 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 not Ben. And besides, it's a mother and son relationship, not a romantic relationship.
I guess
We're
so.
talking about Han and Leia. So Han and Leia, I don't think that was an amicable separation. I felt that was a dramatic separation. But when they came back in the movie and they saw each other, I felt that she treated it very maturely. She accepted him back in a way that preserved his dignity because he cares about that. He wants to be seen as cool. But he also knows that I want to be seen as cool, but I know it's like, I'm kind of old for this stuff, but it's like, how do I deal with it? Parang kita mo yung mukha ni Han, parang, hey, and it's like, and then just gives him that knowing smile, and he's like, ganun. So it's like, I'm gonna give you your dignity. I'm not gonna make a fuss about it. Come here. And I think that's a huge green flag. Because that means that
I
she was in
agree. I agree.
control of her emotions. She let it run
Yes.
wild, and she gave him dignity. Sige.
I think na green flag para kay Leia. But I have a
Yes, green
feeling
flag for Leia.
kasi
Yes,
red flag kasi it's red flag kay Han because it feels like it was Han who left.
he did leave. That's why I
Diba?
said for Leia, it's a green flag. She is a lot of green flag, but Han had red flags which he didn't quite deal with, even at
Yes.
that time.
Yun yung
So it's
feeling ko
like,
na
sorry,
he didn't feel he didn't deal with the problems that they had and and his typical response, which is always been his response from before, was to run away. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Like,
yun yung red flag para sa akin for Han. Pero yeah, if Leia was the gold standard, green flags all the way. Kasi it looked like she was just waiting for him to come back eh.
she
I
was.
got that I got
She
that
was.
impression nang nag-reunite sila dun sa seventh movie. Like it
It's
was
like,
like he was just
finally,
waiting all
you're
this
back.
time.
Yeah, she was. And what I like is also that yun nga, she was waiting, but I also didn't feel that, yes, she might have been waiting, but she wasn't moping. She was doing things. She was moving on with her.
Yeah. Hindi
She
siya
Yeah.
kept she
waiting
could
na
continue.
kailan na siya babalik? Hindi siya ganun.
Oh, like Leia has never been the type to break down and not been able to carry on. So I mean, it's not that she doesn't break down and cry because we saw her do that. We saw her grieve. We saw her, express these emotions. But I want to say by the grace of the force. Not for us, it's by the grace of God, right? But in her case, it was by the strength that she had with her spirit, with in the force and everything, that she was able to continue. So parang maganda yung she's an iconic, interestingly, mature, very mature and polished siya.
All right. Oh, here's another couple. Si
Alright.
si sino ba 'yun? Shucks. Si Midoriya at saka si Ochako from My Hero Academia.
Couple na ba sila?
Couple.
I got nothing. I can't. I honestly would say this might be a pass because
That's just headcanon. It's not. It hasn't officially been said that they're.
yeah, it's mostly headcanon. Although they have had more
Well,
development than Naruhina. Honestly,
that's true.
the only reason they've had more development is because they're the only ones with development. So I mean, and it's been the
Uy, hindi
whole series.
naman.
Hindi naman.
Sino pa ba may development?
Uy,
Aside
si
sa
ano,
kanila?
si Bakugo may development.
Hindi,
Napakalaki nga eh.
romantic.
Romantic ba? Sorry na.
True. The other romantic takes would have been Yorozu and si Ida, maybe.
Yeah, but that's
Si Earjack,
then-
tsaka
yeah,
si ano.
And then Earjack and yung Kaminari.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are like hints of it, but there's not
Because
really
they're the
much.
background characters. They're not gonna go too deep into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's there.
Oh, here,
So-
ito controversial.
Yeah, what else do we have?
Si Ron and Hermione.
Personally,
It's a bad taste in my mouth.
I don't like it.
I'm not a Ron Hermione shipper.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm not the big
She's
shipper
better
in
off
Harry
with ano.
Potter stuff.
They should have stuck with
With who?
the obvious
He's
partner.
better off with the other school guy. What's his name? Si Victor.
Si
Crumb.
Victor Crumb.
Ah.
So, to our audience, kung sino man
Ron
nanonood,
was pretty toxic.
I'm sorry to say
Ron
that
was. He was full of. I don't think.
He would always constantly tease her and put her down.
I think they make good friends, but he took it to a different level in the wrong way. I think kasi Ron kasi is a decent enough friend, not the best friend, but decent enough. And Hermione was a great, but in a relationship they don't go well together because Hermione is too. It sounds weird to say, but she's too much for him. Because he has deep-seated identity and confidence and esteem issues,
True.
which her presence doesn't resolve.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel it would exacerbate those issues,
In a way, she
which might be why he teases her even more.
parang in a way she emasculates him, kind of like because
Yeah, I mean,
she's
it's not
smart.
her. It's
She's
not
smart.
not her
Like
fault.
she's like mud. I mean, what do
No,
you-
not much. She's a what? There's a term for it. There's a
she's
non-derogatory.
she's
She doesn't have a wizard
breed.
lineage. No, it's not half. Basta wala siyang wizard house lineage. Wala siyang
Yun.
I have descended from X generations of whatever. She doesn't have that,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
does
While
not.
and then compared to him, he is technically a pure blood.
He is technically, but they're kind of a
Right.
messy family.
No,
Right?
yeah. I'm just saying like it's like the opposites. Like he's pure blood and he's all about yung pure. I don't know about all about it, but he emphasizes it a lot about being a pure-blooded wizard. So
Does he?
parang
Did he though? Wait, okay. To the group, I just don't remember him making a big deal about
I
this.
don't think
The one
him making a big deal about, but what he makes a big deal about often, and the point of conflict that Ron normally has with Hermione is that he feels that Hermione is always showing him up. And sabi nga
yun.
ni Vince, he has a lot of insecurities about
exactly.
performance anxiety nga.
Yeah, it's not about his lineage. It's more of just like him as a wizard. Period.
Proud
And
about his family, not necessarily his lineage, his
he's
family.
proud about his family, but he's not proud about lineage. As opposed to Draco, who is proud about his lineage, not necessarily his family. There's a difference.
I think for our audience, most of us are not a big fan of the Ron Hermione pairing. Ako, for me, the problem was problematic sila from the very beginning eh. No, parang kaya lang siya na-develop was because it's the opposites attract idea. But I
But
think
I would say opposite. Their kind of opposites would crack.
and this is going to touch on the nerve of some Harry Potter fans, but I've actually preferred Harry with Hermione. They seem like a better
Ba't
fit,
mo?
'di ba? I think they were a better fit eh. And I felt the
In the
Ginny
long run, I think same. I think they would have been a better fit in the long run because Harry, for all of his he wasn't the best person by far, but he did not have the same self-esteem issues that Ron did. And Hermione's capability and ability to do things never impacted him negatively.
Yeah.
Diba? He didn't feel like he was shown up. He'd make fun of like, oh, you're such a nerd. Parang ganun yung vibe. Pero it didn't feel like insecure siya with that. I mean, to be fair, Harry had bigger problems, so he fixated
Yeah.
on what were the legitimate problems. But
I think
you know,
mas mas inaccept ni Harry yung pagiging gano'n ni Hermione.
yeah, parang ganun
Which is
lang
a good
talaga siya.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. For me, it was like, yeah, she's just like that, and you can tease her about it, but ganun lang talaga. She's a performer. She's like that.
I personally, I think yung relationship ni Harry and Hermione was much better than yung what was seen sa between Harry and Ginny, sa totoo lang, in my opinion and Harry wasn't, honestly,
Yeah.
at the beginning, he wasn't really also a very good person in relationship. he was
No,
so mean.
none of them were. None
He
of
was
them were.
so mean to Cho Chang. I mean, sobrang hindi ko pa
It's
siya
such a high.
na-forgive doon.
It's a very high. Well, technically, they were high school. It's such a high school behavior, right? Like they were all pretty not good at relationships. I mean, who among all of them, who was actually decent at relationships?
Among the trio,
No,
or
among
just any.
all of them, the core characters.
Who
But
was
I think
decent?
the book is like yung binanggit mo kanina, John, na
Mm.
the author wasn't really focusing on the
Yeah, she
romantic
wasn't. She
relationships,
wasn't
di
though.
ba?
That's true.
Mas more of the world building and whatever's
That's
happening.
true. That's true. But I mean, yun
Was
lang. There were
Neville
a lot.
Longbottom. Joke.
Neville was a good character. But he had no. Ano ba? Sino? Who did he end up with? He ended up with
No. He ended up dating Luna, but they did not get married.
ah. That is a thing I
Si
find
si
sad.
Vince, ano naman, si Cedric, tsaka si Cho ba?
For me, Cedric and anyone is a good pairing.
Mm.
Just because Cedric himself is just a stupidly good pairing, as written, because he
Mm.
was written to be a
He's a good
genuinely
guy.
good guy. It's like he's just a good guy. He's like iconic Hufflepuff. Yes, He's just like, hi, I'm here. I respectfully love and care for you, and I died.
I think any Hufflepuff na.
I think that's
A
why
lot
he
of
was killed off. He's
yeah,
too
that's
good.
true.
Most
It's
Hufflepuffs
like
would be have a high E EQ.
actually, most I would say that a Hufflepuff and anyone else pairing generally, not always. There may be exceptions to be fair, but generally would be a good matchup. Yung problem with Gryffindor kasi is they're usually very polarized characters. So it's gonna like you really have. It's like wow, extra grace required for you to like figure the thing coming together.
And who better to offer that extra grace than a Hufflepuff?
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So if you have two
Truthfully,
Gryffindors, bangga
truthfully,
ulo talaga yan.
if you think about it, Ginny wasn't
Yeah.
very. I don't feel like Ginny was in the right house.
Ginny, yeah, but she wanted to be kasi in Gryffindor.
She asked for Gryffindor.
Yeah, like they were tama ba? There are some characters where the hat allowed them to be in that house.
Harry does say at the end that you can choose where you want to be.
Yeah,
You can ask him to
the
you
sorting
can
hat.
request him. Yeah.
The sorting hat will only I don't know. Well, this is now a totally different thing, but I think the sorting hat will only not put you in the house if you're totally super not bagay for the house. But if it's like a pwede, and then I'll let you go in. Like
It
it's
will
not a bad
consider.
match.
It will
But this is
Yung
consider.
ship ni yung ship ni Nancy Fleur, tsaka si Blur.
Yon.
Fleur and Bill.
Fleur
And
and
Fleur
Bill.
and Bill.
Isn't that a real?
They got
Yeah.
married. They were married in the
Oh,
Yeah,
end of the
they
movie.
did. Oh yeah, there you go. That was a very interesting mix. Match.
Pair up.
Married
Like
sila.
Bill.
In fact, and ano nga 'di ba, parang sinabihan siya in the book, sinabihan siya na now she can choose to be with somebody else. Si Molly ata nagsabi noon, Molly Weasley, or I forgot who. Tapos she said, you think just because he is now a werewolf, I won't be with him? Ganon si Fleur. So, mahal niya kasi talaga si Bill. So parang he decided to stay with him. So parang yes, exactly. Fleur accepted Bill kahit naging werewolf siya.
Teka,
I
anong
mean, to
book
be fair,
yan? Seventh
Fleur
ba
is
yan?
sorry, what?
It was book 6. Half-Blood Prince naging werewolf si Bill.
Yes.
Okay. Hindi ko kasi natapos yun ng 7.
Oh, well, you should try to finish the book.
Tonks and Lupin din.
Ah,
Sadly, they met back.
yes. Ship ko yun.
So a lot of the best relationships. See, you can't say she doesn't write good relationships. There are. It's just that the core characters were the ones with the weirdest pairings. It's just that when you go outside and you go to like the older characters and the secondary and tertiary ones, they ended up with good pairings. It's like so you do know how to pair characters with good matchups. It's just you didn't do it with your main characters. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
Look, I guess because originally she didn't really think of them.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kind of funny though how that
Because
works out.
like there's a difference between writing them with the intention of putting them with someone versus just
I
an
suppose.
individual.
I suppose.
It's
sabi
like
niya,
if it's a side character kasi like you don't get to develop them so much that you can actually put them into something else.
I guess you don't need to develop them all the time. You can kind of jump them a bit more.
I think with regard to Tongs and Lupin, I kind of agree a bit with what Vince is saying na it was kind of toxic at the beginning, but I think because they worked it out. They processed it and eventually they understood each other's insecurities and that they were willing to accept each other was where I think naging green flag siya. Now from red flag naging green flag yung relationship nila and yung attitude nila. Sabi ni Ninay, but Bill and Fleur didn't die.
That's true. They didn't
Grabe.
die. They did not.
So,
So that was
yeah.
a good one. That was good.
You want to talk
siguro,
about some red flags?
Sige.
A different relationship, but kind of related to Harry
Okay.
Potter.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Twilight.
No. No. No.
That is in peak no.
I'm just saying the relationship because of Cedric
No.
Diggory.
We're gonna sink in on this. Like, okay, so why
Okay.
is Twilight a red flag relationship? No, because we've had some good green flag relationships, and
Okay,
why?
let me jump into that. The
Go,
problem with almost all, if not all, the relationships in Twilight, they're all fantasy. When I say they're all fantasy, they're all from one woman's perspective of how she feels relationships should be. Pero there are so many red flags. It's just unbelievable how even any of the couples got together. I mean, there was a lot of gaslighting involved with the characters. I mean,
Refresh my mind kasi ganun siya nakalimutan ko na kung how the movie went.
Okay.
Yep.
Sige, let's
go
start with
just
Edward.
briefly.
Edward was stalking Bella from the beginning of this series. He was in her bedroom and then like ni-romanticize yung stalking. So ano yun, pag gwapo, okay. Ganon. Okay lang ako, i-stalk
Babo
pa
na
ng gwapo.
vampira.
Kasi pag guwapo, secret admirer.
But if it was anybody else, stalker,
Yeah nga.
good.
Kasi if it's a handsome person, secret admirer.
Diba?
Okay, what else?
Tapos si Edward would always question what Bella was doing. Especially when she was being friends with Jacob. And I'm like, wala kang pakialam sa friends kung sino friends ni Bella.
He was hyper possessive.
He was so possessive and he would gaslight her. Like, goodness, and you got married to her? Everything that
Yun
was...
lang, they explain it in gameplay, in the lore as a vampire thing to do, which just basically means vampires are all walking red flag. They joke.
Ito, yung the worst, yung imprinting. Sabi ka ni Vince.
Diba?
So, apparently, nagkaroon ng relationship yung daughter ni Bella saka si Jacob because Jacob imprinted on Bella's daughter.
So it's
Right?
like
Right?
Just to be clear, he doesn't have any control over it. It happens lang. So
Because he was a werewolf, but like
Okay, he has no
I'm just saying, like he has no control
it's
over
weird.
it.
Right, I understand that he has no control, but why is it also still being romanticized by the book? I like
That one lang.
well, okay. I mean, as we know, the book kasi is like an entire.
Yeah.
It's the good way. It's her way of having a harem, having them all except not having them all. I don't know whatever.
yeah, right. He's not a werewolf, by the way. He's a shapeshifter. So technically,
That only shifts into a wolf.
that shifts only to a wolf.
So, see, only na hindi ako fan.
No, Raph, we're not walking over.
Because can you
it.
find the
We're
green flag?
we're
Tell
trampling
me.
over it.
We're not walking over it. We're trampling all over it. And I don't know if there is any really good green flag in that film series.
There is
Which is?
one major
Share.
flag. Si Dad.
Si Dad. The dad, actually.
He is for me, he is the sole green flag in that book. He
No,
actually,
we're
because
talking
in
about
a way,
relationship green flags.
yeah, exactly. The dad and the mom and dad, they're the only
Ah,
green flags in
yeah.
that. Because,
Okay,
well,
he just
it might
mentioned
have,
that, so I got confused.
yeah. See Carlisle and his and
Esme.
Esme. Yeah. I mean, okay,
Actually,
in this
the
case,
dad that
it
comes
feels
to
like,
mind is more of the dad of ano of Bella.
yeah,
Kasi siya
he
yung
was,
maayos yung relationship niya with ano. And
uh,
we can assume from the storyline that he had a good relationship with ano with kung sino naging mom ni Bella. Pero 'di ba, parang ako, yung sino? Bakit
yeah, but
ganun
I
yung
mean, but aside from him, kasi everything else there was so problematic. So if you guys want, I mean, it's not the newest material, but like if you guys want it's a masterpiece of red flag relationships. Twilight is a masterpiece of
Wait,
red flag relationships.
let's follow it up with another book that was based on Twilight.
There was a
See,
book based on
50
Twilight.
Shades.
50 Shades.
It was based on
Oh no, we're
Twilight.
not even going there.
I can't go there because I
I
haven't
don't
read
know.
it.
I
I
don't know
didn't watch
anything
it.
about it.
I just know it has what do you call that?
S&M.
It's a
Yes.
more adult version because it doesn't do the fantasy bit as much. It just goes more to the psychological and sexual aspects of relationships and the
But
dominance thing. I
Wait,
know it
it
has
was
that.
based on Twilight?
So
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
no, that was
it's
the
a
writer
very
of the ano,
loose, it's a very loose fanfic of Twilight. Like if someone created like I was inspired by Twilight to make a fan fiction that's not directly connected to Twilight, but it's inspired by, just like Twilight itself was rumored, but I don't know if this is true. This is probably just hearsay. Rumored to be a fan fiction of, I don't know, Harry Potter or something else. Something else.
yeah, but
What's
anyway,
another,
the problem with that was also
probably
one
Anne
of
Rice
red
stuff.
flags because it was all the relationship was marred by manipulation, 'di ba? And ano, parang control, which is as we have as we have talked earlier na parang when someone is possessive, manipulative and controlling, the relationship is probably unhealthy, 'di ba? So
Not
Yes,
Vince,
yes.
probably. Very unhealthy.
It is unhealthy because I guess because it's like that. That's not kasi the fundamental character of love. Love kasi it is wanting the best for each other, but it's also respecting the personhood of the other person.
si
'Di
Vince is shouting 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, I never watched that movie. That's also another red flag movie.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
For
Summer
both sides.
for both
Just
sides,
to be
but I
clear, for
really hate
both
on Summer.
sides.
For both sides.
I
Okay, so
really
this time it's for both sides. Okay, who has watched 500 Days of Summer?
I really hated
I
Summer.
have.
I hated Summer. Summer was ano,
I guess
Summer
John has watched it.
The guy was the victim or pa-victim?
Both.
he was both. He was a
He was both.
victim, but he was also a victim.
Willing
He
victim.
was
Ganun.
romanticizing their friendship,
They were
but she was
romanticizing and being
she
a
was doing stuff that a friendship shouldn't normally have.
She was
yeah, she was saying friends lang sila. I don't want a boyfriend, but she was doing things that only boyfriends and girlfriends do. So
yeah,
parang
it was,
ako,
she had a bad, okay, so you could say na wala, she wanted certain things. I guess the emotional security and to a certain extent maybe the control over a person's life as if she was the girlfriend. And she just wanted someone to, like I can express whatever I want. So it's like an irresponsible, being irresponsible with her charms or whatever, and then just whatever, like do whatever I want.
and
But I
then
have no, I will not take any responsibility for the effects of it. So she had no sense of responsibility and boundaries, you could say.
Si Ninay. First of all daw, sinabi ni Summer sa start na ayaw niya ng relationship. At
ayaw niya
galit
ng
daw siya.
ako kasi parang ayaw niya ng relationship, pero she was doing everything that you
Pero from
know,
a flirt.
A
sobrang
romantic
flirt that
relationship should have.
the romantic relationships have. And then yung end, biglang nakasal siya to somebody else. And like, what the hell?
What happened? What happened?
Yeah. So it's like I don't want. Yeah, I guess it's like saying I don't want a relationship with you, but Hey, I'm gonna cuddle up with you. I'm gonna like, oh, date tayo. Yung mga parang, pero I don't want a relationship, ha. I just want all of the emotional energy I derive from a relationship, but we're not in a relationship. I get to choose and date whoever I want, but I'm using you. Except I'm not gonna say that I'm using you. So it's like that.
Tapos, actually, ang sinabi pa niya, don't want a boyfriend. At sinabi niya, she doesn't really want to be in a relationship, but she got married. And I'm like,
She doesn't want to be in a relationship with that guy.
oo. Tapos
She
yun,
just wanted him
yeah,
as an emotional crutch.
that's the another part that annoyed me. And the end, sinabi niya, I just didn't think I wanted to have didn't want to have a relationship with you. Para sa mind ko, hindi mo na kailangan sabihin yun eh. Obvious naman eh. parang, so what was all that? Yes,
Vince
galit
has
ako.
another. Vince has another topic din.
So what's another set of red flags that you have for us, Vin? Mukhang puro
Yeah,
red flags eh.
he said one more chance.
I
Ikaw po
have,
yan ba siya?
hindi po sila geek.
Hindi po
Or-
geek romance yan.
Okay,
Sorry.
we have veered off the geek track long enough. Let us return.
Twilight was still pretty geeky considering
It
it was
was.
a
It
book.
was semi geek because it's fantasy. But we veered off when we hit 50 Shades and 500. Yeah, let's get out of there. That's mainstream. What is this mainstream stuff? Oh, gross. Joke.
Ew.
Sabi ni Kuya
Ew.
Ian, what did he enter? What did he
So,
just
Kuya Ian, maybe you have some romantic relationships na in geekdoms that you'd like us to tackle. Yun.
So in the meantime, I have Arwen and Aragon.
Okay, so I had them at the start, and it's difficult because Tolkien didn't write the details of how they got together, except that it was just something that, I mean, it happened over a long period of time. So I can't say if they're red or green flags because we didn't get to experience their dynamics the way we would like in other fiction. Lord of the Rings kasi is unfortunately not a highly focused on the romantic relationship side. It's just more of like she was there and he became a king and she became his queen. Whoa. So I love Tolkien, but this is not something he really wrote a lot about. Oh, that is a good one though. That's a good one. So good point. Aragon shows green flag tendencies because of that alone. Because when he knew that someone else was crushing on him and he knew that his heart was with someone else, he's just like, I can't give you what you want. You gotta look for someone else. So okay, that's a green flag thing for Aragorn. And Pogi points, the loyal king. Very nice.
Yes, yes,
Good
yes.
job for Aragorn.
Kala ko
And I mean,
nag-unmute. Anyway, sorry. Pero yeah.
wala lang. Kasi everything else is off canon eh. Like I wouldn't know how to green flag Arwen except that she remained faithful. Like their relationship was a long time. It took like 4 decades for it to mature. But I mean, she's an immortal elf, right? It's like what's 4 decades to? So it's hard. I don't know how to analyze it. It's like, oh, he's been loyal.
So
She's
ano,
been loyal.
green flag ba yung age doesn't matter?
Kasi in their case talaga, it's just fantasy. You can't, because Aragorn himself by that time was 100 years old. So it's like,
All of them were. I mean, they were both mature, like mature adults.
well,
Physically
that's
and
true.
mentally.
And mentally, I suppose. Kasi when Arwen, when they first met, Aragorn was a teenager, late teenager, when he had like a puppy love thing for her, and she didn't really respond to that. So I guess that's good. And then when he matured and then he persisted, that's when they actually had a pursued a relationship nung tumanda na si Aragorn. So I guess that's a good thing. She waited for him to become a full person. So good going, girl. I mean, hello, you've been like you're a century plus old. You better have good morals. I don't know. Dad mo pa si Elrond, ewan ko lang kung hindi ka natuto sa kanya.
Here's another couple from anime.
Mm.
Si Kenshin Himura at saka si Kaoru.
Oh, difficult.
Mm.
That's another difficult thing. You know why? Because Kenshin is twice her age. Diba? Tricky
How old
din.
was she?
She was 18.
He was
She was
32.
18?
She was 18.
36?
He was 36. He was 35. Whatever. Close enough.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Vincent
back
Kenshin
then-
kept secrets daw
Yeah.
from Kaoru.
back then, 18 was old for a woman. Sorry. But,
That's true. Usually they got married at younger ages.
16 to 18 was like, oh my gosh, you're so old. We have to marry you off na. So it's terrible. But I mean, she had her own reasons because like her grandfather's dojo, she was the last in. Parang she used her position to push off the marriage thing as long as she could because she needed a proper heir to the family business. So I guess that's kind of it's difficult. Not the best green flag because yun nga, Kenshin had so many traumas. I would say Kaoru had
Kaoru is the green flag.
good green flags, I think. But Kenshin had a lot of red flags.
Actually, if you think about it, despite all the complaints of fans about Kaoru, siya yung
Yeah.
green flag sa relationship.
Yeah,
Siya
actually,
yung
analyzing it,
understanding, siya yung laging nandun, siya yung pinupuntahan niya si Kenshin kahit despite the fact that it could be dangerous for herself. Alam mo yung parang, if you think about it clearly.
sobrang
Siya yung emotional
self-sacrificing.
support.
Yeah, she said like she provided a lot of emotional security and safety for him. She was an extremely safe spot. And
Yeah, she
Kenshin
was the refuge.
Yeah. Si Kenshin naman, it took a while for him to accept that. I mean, to be fair, he was like PTSD and whatever up the wazoo. Like, he was a
Yes.
child assassin that does crazy stuff to your brains. And it was difficult, like, honestly. Tsaka, di ba, yung traumatic past niya, like, his first wife, lover, was killed by his own hands. I mean, that does a lot of crazy stuff on you. So, he had a lot of red flags, not necessarily because he was a terrible person, but he suffered through a lot of terrible things. So, yung only green flag I would say for him is that, and especially at the end of the original run of the series, was that he learned to grow out of his traumas.
Yeah.
So at the start, Kenshin was chock full of red flags. But
He ended up being fully trusting of Kaoru ng lahat ng niya.
he finally
niya.
accepted and
Mhm.
learned to let go of all of his traumatic baggage.
Mhm.
So I would say he became a green flag because of that growth process. So willing siya mag-grow and let go of his pains. Yun yung big flags
Okay.
niya.
So merong si Kuya Ian, one of the best portrayed relationships daw is between Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah. So I'm gonna invite Vince to talk about this kasi siya yung huge Rebels fan. Vince! Get in here. No, joke lang. No, because I have to admit, I was not able to finish Rebels. I read synopsis, but it's hard to appreciate the full depths of their relationship without having watched all the episodes. Like, I don't know. Gio, did you watch Rebels?
No.
No. So, unfortunately, I don't think any of the four here, and sadly, me, I have not watched Rebels.
Oh, I watched Rebels. Actually, I agree with Kuya Ian.
Oh, there you go.
His,
You take it away, John. Take it away.
I agree with his assessment. Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla were perfect partners eh. They knew their roles, they knew what they were doing, and whenever one or of the characters felt like they needed, parang they were discouraged for whatever reason, the other one could see it and they would be there to support them emotionally and physically if it meant, when I say physically, like they have to go to battle or whatever, nandun sila for each other.
Aw.
That's
So,
great.
actually one of the best, and I think ang ganda kasi because Kanan was the mentor to, what's his face? Nakalimutan ko yung pangalan. But
What is this? Good.
he was the mentor to the bida ng rebel, si ano, Tax.
The kid. Yeah, I forgot his name. See,
I'm so bad at
boy. Di
names.
joke lang. That's the wrong game.
Si Ezra Bridger.
Ezra. There we go.
And because
Ezra.
of that, parang Kanan and Hera became like pseudo parents pa nga eh to
Yeah, that's
Ezra.
true. That's
So
true.
I think I agree with that assessment na talaga na they had a really good relationship, and actually it's something na I look forward to seeing more and more when I was watching them. I'll go into the comments pa. Daming comments eh.
Mm.
So sabi ni Vince, si Ayako at Miyagi ng Slam Dunk. Yes, after watching the movie.
Mm.
If you haven't watched the Slam Dunk
Right,
movie, you
right.
have to watch the
No
Slam Dunk
spoilers.
movie.
Joke.
Anyway,
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I
sabi ni
would totally watch it again.
sabi ni Ninay, Miyaka and all the guys of Fushigi Hyugi. No,
Oh
don't
no,
Ninay.
no, exactly. No. That's why we can discuss that. It's a Miyaka is a walking red flag.
But she was what, 14? I think. She was
16.
she was a junior high she was a junior high schooler going into high school. Yun yung
Senior high.
age.
Okay, so junior high is
That's grades 6,
no, okay.
7, 8, 9,
Senior high
9th
kasi
grade
is
basically.
18. She was 15.
Si ano naman daw, si Sakura and Shaoran of Cardcaptor Sakura.
Okay, they are underage.
They're underage.
But
Yes,
that
they're
said,
not even allowed to be in a relationship, a mature relationship at
Yeah.
that.
That said though, I think they feel like they would grow into a good mature green flag relationship. Kasi they haven't gotten there yet. May crush-crushan pa sila. But everything they've gone through has helped them grow so much as people that I feel like when they do actually mature into actual adulthood, they'll probably be fairly well adjusted.
Actually, in the current storyline na yung ng Cardcaptor Sakura, they're now in middle school, junior high. So, we'll see how the relationship goes from there. Ninay says Raylo. No.
Raylo, yes, great example of red flag. No, I mean it is. Let's face it. There's nothing.
Let's face it. Yeah, it is
But
pretty.
neither
bad.
of them is a green flag. Neither of them is a green flag.
So, Anakin daw and Padme.
Neither of them were green flags. I'm sorry. I love Padme.
Also, it was pretty.
It was
sus,
weird.
especially
It was
when
weird.
they
That's
first
fair.
met.
Because they
When they first met, because he was like an 8-year-old or something, and she was a teen.
Yeah, she she didn't look it, but she was supposed to be 12.
Exactly. Okay, well, it's not so
She
bad.
was
But still,
she was supposed to be 12. He was supposed to be 10 and she was supposed to be like 12, 13.
but she didn't.
Is
look
it
that.
I don't know, is it me or Caucasians look really old? It's like a 13-year-old, what? You look like you're 18. Of course she was
Either
actually
that or Asians just look really young.
So, Anakin was
he do
aged
look
9.
young. How old was he? Basta alam ko 5-year gap sila at most. Which
Okay,
is still a bit small.
basta si Anakin, red flag siya kasi he was obsessed. Obsessed
He
with,
was obsessed. He was obsessed.
bringing back people to life.
She was 14 years old.
Ah, there you go.
Anakin was
Obsessed
9.
with power, basically.
14 and a 9-year-old.
14 and a 9-year-old. So, Anakin was 9. She was 14.
5-year gap. Either way, it's still
Pretty bad.
like
It's-
even if it's she's the older one here, she should have known better. It's like Padme, you lost all your marbles when Anakin popped in. That's such I want to say it's such bad writing. It is bad writing. But
It is bad writing.
I mean, like, I've just assumed that for some reason she fell in love with him or reciprocated or felt burdened to reciprocate, whatever. She she should she was smart in politics, but she dropped the ball hard when it came to relationships. So I guess no, they're both red flags in terms of relationships. She should have called boundaries. She should have called boundaries there. But
There
no.
was actually si
Yeah,
Obi-Wan.
especially since she already knew that
She
the
knew.
the Jedi oath of what was it? Of is it celibacy or
No, they don't have an oath of celibacy. They do
what is
have
it?
an oath of no non-attachment.
No, yeah, that one.
They can get married, but that doesn't mean that they
It's a weird thing.
That's a weird thing. How are you
I,
supposed to
I blame.
get married without any attachment?
No, you get married, but I'm not so attached to you. It's a weird thing. I blame it on
Political
George.
marriage.
You blame it on George Lucas and his
A
weird.
political marriage, well.
No, okay. To be, you can't get married, but you can have kids. There's a difference, and neither of which is good. Either way, so the Jedi Order actually, as it was also full of red flags. As a
Pero
whole,
actually,
but
si
also
That's so many contradictory stuff.
they had so many contradictions. Which is very human. It's very human. It's very messy. But
actually, yun nga parang there's a deleted scene from Star Wars episode 3 ata yun na deleted scene where Obi-Wan was speaking to Padme, and he was saying that
that yes.
he always knew that Anakin was in love with Padme, and that she also fell in love with him, but he kept quiet because Jedi Order, he pretended not to know. Anakin pretended that Obi-Wan didn't know, and I'm like, goodness, people.
Wala nang tumama.
Tapos
Yun nga eh.
parang ako, okay. But I think it was because deep down, si Obi-Wan also was in a relationship eh. He wanted to be in a relationship eh. Meron siyang relationship in the Star Wars Clone Wars na series eh.
Actually, si Obi-Wan yung playboy dito. Marami siyang ka-closean na babae. Although only one was like more like legit. But that's the joke, right? He had a lot of playfully working relationships with a lot of women.
Like sabi nga ni Kuya Ian, he did have a serious relationship with Satine, Chris, the Duchess of Mandalore. Pero yun nga, at the end of the day, they cannot be because it's there is what do you call this? That
The
Jedi
Order thing. The weird thing is this is not canon because Disney said it's not. But in older versions of the Star Wars universe, older versions of the Jedi Order actually allowed marriage. So I don't know. It transformed
Because I
over the
think
years.
that wasn't clear in the first few episodes eh.
Yung main trilogy naman kasi came out as medyo siya Asian monk order eh. 'Di ba? The vibes. Para siyang yung Buddhist Shinto warrior monk vibe. And then they merged it with the Roman priest thing. A lot of weird inspirations got jumbled together for the Jedi Order to come out. So,
Oy, sabi ni Vince, pansinin daw natin siya. Sakura daw and Shaoran uli, pero Tsubasa Chronicle instead of Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh.
but Tsubasa
older
Chronicle
version.
is so messy.
That's
And
true. That is pretty
what
messy.
we would like to know is how they are green flag or red flag.
Medyo mahirap hanapan ng green flag or red flag yung nila kasi it wasn't about it centered about them, but wala masyadong yung relationship building
It
between the
wasn't
two of
really
them.
about love.
Tsubasa Chronicles
It wasn't a
kasi is-
romantic relationship.
Tsubasa Chronicles, if I remember right, medyo mystery, mystical, weird stuff.
Binasa ko yung
Galit sa-
manga bago ko
galit-
napanood yung anime, so tigilan mo ko, Vince.
Yeah, I also read the manga. It was a confusing mess. and it was not very relationship developing.
Anyway, sabi niya, what about Richard and Erica of Dimos? Richard, Erica.
I remember the scene. I don't remember anything else. I was too young
Yeah.
to watch this show.
Yeah. I
Next,
just remember them calling out their names. Yun lang.
si
Honestly,
Lacos
wala akong
Clyde.
naaalala anything
Lacos
else.
Clyde daw and Kira Yamato. Gundam Seed.
Kira Yamato tsaka sino? Si?
Lacos Clyde.
Oh,
Gundam
actually,
Seed.
they weren't so horrible. I mean, for a childhood thrust into ridiculous levels of responsibility thing, they didn't do too bad.
Actually,
Yung
magandang...
toxic si ano, si Ash, yung rival niya, si what's his name again? Asra? The other guy. And his love interest, man, those were toxic.
Si
But
Afron Zala.
sino?
Afron Zala.
Astron. There you go. I was like, how do you pronounce his name again? Astron. Astron.
But how are they toxic? How do they
Parang sa naalala ko, they basically gaslighted him a lot. Parang it's been a while. It's been a while. I do just remember Kira being the very mellow guy. And si Lacus was also very well adjusted for a teenage princess diplomat. Very like Princess Leia. Except she's more Genki cute and Leia's more upfront in your face. Let's get things done. So, na-realize ko lang bigla, ang daming mga princess diplomats nga sa Gundam, no? Hello, Princess Leia, copy variant.
Gundam kasi is a very political...
It is. It's a very political
And
thing. It's
Gundam-
always about kids being thrust into political
Gundam
scenarios.
Seed actually has probably one of the most well-developed political structures na clear political It was like it was like watching parang feeling mo para siyang World War when you look at the different factions in Gundam Seed. Yes, Oscar na mention na po si Kenshin tsaka si Kaoru. Buti nga hindi na mention si Kenshin tsaka si sino yung previous love interest ni Kenshin? Si
Tomoe?
Tomoe.
Ayan, pwede naman natin yan yan yung double red flag. Tomoe was a messy red flag din.
Ba't mo nasabi?
She basically wanted to kill him. But she fell in love with him. So I don't know. It's sad. It's a tragedy. Tragedy. Oh my gosh. That's weird because Hiro was a teenager and Relena was how old was she? She was older, right? She was a bit older. Fine, go Big Bang people. I never watched Big Bang Theory.
I kind of like it. I
Amy
mean,
Fowler and Sheldon Cooper.
yeah, I mean, I like the relationship, especially as it got as more parang as they delved into it more. She became a lot. I mean, they weren't. It's not because of their romantic relationship that they became a lot more
I think they were red flag to begin with.
tolerable. I guess, yeah, to be they were quote unquote red flags when they first started. But that's more because of their own social awkwardness and um but with their growth wasn't really because of the relationship together, it was more because of their friendship with everyone else, I would say.
They had a good base, friendship base, yeah.
Because if you just left it to them only, they'd still be the same. Because they were literally male female counterparts of each other. That's literally how they found each other. Because their friends said they were when they were making their profile for Sheldon, like they were describing Sheldon, and they found her. So parang,
Mm.
and yeah,
Sabi
left to
ni
their own
Vince,
devices, she even dated him because she just wanted her mother off her back.
So they got into the relationships for very red flag reasons.
She
Wag
wanted her
tularan.
mom off her back, and
Don't fall.
Sheldon was like kind of like forced into it by his friends.
Yep.
Mm.
So,
But this is a case of two red flag people with red flag reasons actually coming out of it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, when they
they
when
got it
they
working.
grew as people socially, they became a lot better. But
They
like I said,
traded it in.
but yeah, like I said, I don't attribute it because of the relationship. I attribute it because of their friendships with Penny and Leonard.
Yeah.
alright. Actually, sabi ni Vince, pinaka-healthy daw si Howard tsaka Bernadette, which I kinda agree. Penny and Leonard medyo, ano,
See
Penny
how
and
yeah,
Leonard had to
each other.
was also toxic to begin with. Red
Yeah,
flags all
most of
over.
them were toxic to begin with. Yung yeah, si Howard tsaka si Howard tsaka si sorry, what was her name again?
Howard and Bernadette.
Bernadette. Sila lang, if it's just them, medyo okay naman sila. It's Howard's relationship gets complicated because of him living his mom.
That's true. That's why importante yung live and cleave.
Live and Clive. Right. Oh, I watched Bleach, but I feel they didn't. Again, just like Naruto, he didn't really develop their relationship. Like we
Who's
know it's
dated ba?
there, but I mean honestly, bakbakan lang si Bleach. Eh. It's just like Bankai. That's all. That's like 90% of the show. Yeah. I like this one.
Edward and Winry.
They're teenagers, and they were Edward is more red flaggy than Winry because of he was mean to her. We see this a lot, no? So okay, so when a guy is mean to the person, well, it's not excusable na, oh, he just likes you. It's like, just express it in a more healthy way, dude. That's not the way to express it. So, wag natin i-gaslight sarili or that's not how to do it. And si Winry, wala akong masyadong masabi sa kanya eh. She was actually more mature about everything. Like, she
Yeah,
got
she was.
embarrassed, but I mean,
Mhm.
that's normal. But siya mismo, I guess the only red flagginess about her is, which I chalk down to anime comedy, is physical abuse. But that's quite, I mean, it is anime comedy, but if it was real life, that would be pretty red flag. Yung tipong she beats him up.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
like,
that's more just anime
yeah.
comedy. I
So
don't think.
if we just leave it in anime comedy land, then she's okay. But if it's like real, like, dude, no, nobody, female, male, doesn't matter. Physical abuse is always like, whew.
I think it's more like just the comic, just even in any like
Yeah.
IRL na comic.
Normally
Na,
she smacks him around for comedy relief purpose. Kaya
I mean,
I
like
had to
even
look at
IRL,
it.
like like comical batok. Parang ganun.
Oh. Yeah, it's more of that. It's more of that. Except she uses a wrench. So that's why I'm like saying, pang anime comedy lang siguro yan. Lels.
Here are a few more quick fire na lang to guys para we
Sure.
end the session.
Yeah.
Inuyasha and Kagome of Inuyasha.
Red.
I haven't really watched the show enough to
Red.
comment on that.
Also, it's creepy. She's six. Well, she's a reincarnating 16-year-old. I don't know. He's like 1,000 years old. Hard. It's got. It's. Why is it always these weird age
Hard
things?
pass. Yusuke and Keiko of Yu Yu Hakusho.
I didn't watch.
Uh, red
Yusuke and
flag.
who?
If
And
it's a good or
Keiko.
bad relationship,
Yeah, red flag or green
I,
flag.
I can't say if it's red or green. I think it's mostly green because of Keiko. Like Yusuke as a person isn't really.
He's not really a great person.
He's not a great
He's not a
person to
horrible
be in.
person. He's not a great person. He's like. He's like that.
Last two. Spike and Julia, Cowboy Bebop.
No, sorry, never watched it. You guys comment on that.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd say red flag. Medyo
Yeah. Red. That's red. That's so much
sobrang
red.
confusing and nila, story nila.
There was absolutely no clarity, no communication, no clarity.
Yep. And then
So
last two,
that's a lot of red.
si Buttercup and Wesley of Princess Bride.
Don't know.
Uh,
Wait. Buttercup and Wesley. This Princess Bride is which one again? This is
This
the.
is the one with Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
You have killed my father. Prepare to die.
Wesley is is green. Buttercup is mixed. More red than green, but yeah. Wesley's I would say he's green. He's a green flag.
Who said
The
that?
unromantic relationship
Sabi ni,
is
Nobita
sabi ni,
and Nobita and the other girl, sure, but
si Oscar
that's
sabi ni Nobita and Doraemon. Like, what the hell?
okay. We're gonna just ignore that one. Okay, last. Come on.
Okay, ang last natin is Miss Piggy and Kermit.
Kermit.
that's a
Oh.
that's a red flag.
She is a huge red flag.
She is.
Kermit
He's-
is actually Kermit
He's
is a
green,
walking,
literally
he's a walking
green.
green flag.
Literal
He's
green.
literally
He's a literal green.
It's not
He's a
easy
green.
being
He's a green frog.
Yes.
He's a green frog. Green
He's a
frog.
green frog.
Kermit, green frog.
But yeah, she's
Miss
pretty
Piggy,
bad considering
red
she's a very easily jealous person, and not only that, she reacts very violently.
I think she represents a lot of the negative tropes of women. Diba? Like she basically is a representation of most of the negative tropes of women.
I think so. She's a nagger. She's manipulative. She is pushy. She's basically trying to control Kermit's life.
Yep.
Meanwhile, si Kermit is just really doing everything like a good boyfriend is. Diba?
Boyfriend slash I would say husband relationship na nga si Kermit.
You will notice that Kermit rarely, though he does at times, but he rarely gets mad at Miss Piggy.
Siya yung usually nasa sabunan eh.
So, yeah. So, that's it, guys. So, that's the list of, actually, marami pa naman pwedeng hugutin na romances,
Of course.
but it's already 9:30. It's late in the evening. Let's not
It is.
make it later.
All right.
But with that said, any last thoughts or words on red flags and green flags? Who wants to begin? Let's let the women speak first. Wow.
Lahat ba? I would suggest nga sana kasi kanina naglatag na tayo ng mga what we would want to see sana in a relationship na green flag
What are
and
your
what are
green
the
and
red
red flags?
flags. Ganyan. But I would like sana si John kasi wala siya kanina eh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess just summarizing it up, like basically, red flags as we see is when the relationship is when one person in the relationship just, takes the relationship for themselves, for their own benefit or centered toward them. Whereas most of the green flag dynamics is when the relationship is for the other party. diba? For the
Right.
benefit of both and other party. So it's more genuinely because that's it. It's basically loving. It's loving the other. So not that you're not supposed to take care of yourself, but the love yourself dynamic in a relationship actually orients you more towards a red flag than a green flag. So there's a line between taking care of yourself and loving yourself exclusively of the other. So yun.
Right. But what
That's
are
what I
what are yours?
say yun. What do you mean what are mine?
What are your green and red flags? Like, what do you look out for
Oh,
when
okay,
you're,
like literally what's a red and green flag? Okay.
yeah, to you
Uh,
specifically?
right, specifically. For me, the biggest green flag would be a growth-oriented mindset. So even if this person does have a lot of red flags like yung mga traumas, baggages, blah blah blah. But if they are humble enough to be accepting that they do have them and they want to grow out of it and they're making that effort, genuine effort to take steps and are making those steps, then that's the biggest green flag for me. So it's basically God's love in action kasi redemptive eh. He's redeeming your life, making use of all of the things you did in the past or things you went through or whatnot, and he's bringing you out of it and bringing life to that. So among everything we discussed tonight, Kenshin is a good example of a red turning green flag because he grew out of all of his traumas. It was frustrating to see, but hey, I mean, that's people, right? We're usually frustrating to other people. So, ganun lang talaga. Red flag is the opposite. Kung nagmamatigas ka, tapos you focus on the problems and you just can't like you can't grow out of it. It's like you're just stuck there. And that's for me, that's the red flag. Yung tipong um there's a spectrum from absolutely not seeing your problems at all to denying them to whatever, diba? But the point is like, hey, we're people. We have a ton of things we need to always work on, grow on, etc. That's just how we are, Tao, ganun talaga ang tao, diba? You always have something you can grow on. You can learn to be more mature in so many ways, diba? So that we can be more kind, loving, gentle, and ang haba ng list, etc. towards each other. And that's just normal. So if a person doesn't see that they need to grow or need to change much, that for me is a huge red flag. They think that they're mostly okay na ako. Yeah, big red flag if they think that they're good na. All right, go. Passing the ball to sino ba?
We've answered that question earlier
Oh, okay.
already.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Sige, sige. So I guess that's it. Passing the ball to wala. Shot na. Shoo.
So that's it from us, guys. So we talked about green flags and red flags in relationships. And I think it's ano naman, nakakatuwa naman that we are able to discern and identify. And hopefully that when the three of us, because John has a relationship, when the three single people are in a relationship, we can identify the red flags and green flags then. No?
Yeah.
So, at hindi kami magpapaka bulag sa pag-ibig. Yes.
Sana, sana. Wow.
Sana
That term.
the
Yes.
only love that we should focus on and in the meantime is the love of the Lord. Yes. All right. So thank you guys for joining us tonight for a wonderful session of uh, Level Up Geek Nights, and hope you can join us next time, probably next month when we have another rousing session.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are looking for a group to play games with, watch anime, watch movies, and just do geeky stuff, at nag-iisa ka, hindi ka nag-iisa, kami rin. Gusto rin namin kayong makasama. So join
Mm.
us at Level Up Game Nights. We are on Facebook and on Discord. You can visit us at invite.gg/LUGN. That's invite.gg/LUGN. All right, and that's it from us, Pansit. Good night. See you guys. Have a blessed
See ya.
evening.
Bye.
Oyasu.
Feel so